Well, yeah, they just
are the same exact
repeated
message.
the idea. Yeah, so that's
different story.
So the first I'd say the first 5, maybe 6 are just really where everything gets explained.
Mm-hmm.
Except for chapter 7, I found one really good point in it that I liked a lot.
Which was?
Okay, so it talks about how the 3 principles to legitimacy. Anyways, it says it's you need to feel in a area where someone's in control. They need to feel like they have a voice. When they speak out, it's heard, it's understood, and something will happen, or if there's a majority, things like that, right? And it relates to parenthood, and I think it is spot on. It talks about how respect, mutual respect, is more important than anything in a son, father, and daughter, mother, any relationship between a parent. If your parents don't respect what you have to say and you don't feel like you're heard, how can you ever build a relationship with them? It would just be.
And parents who are too strict often have kids that rebel because they never get to experience things.
Perfect, a perfect in between.
Yeah.
The graph, the perfect in between. Because
literally, this entire book is based off of that.
Every little point can relate back to it. It's it's nice actually because it makes sense. Which a lot of books don't do that, so I kind of appreciate that from the writer. So other than that, I think
we kind of got the bulk of it.
Yeah, the other point I guess would be where it talks about wishing a disadvantage on your kids or someone you. We kind of covered that with the poor and rich thing. It would be better to grow up.
We should talk about the dyslexia and stuff like that.
Yeah. So I think I don't know how to pronounce it. It's Boies or Boies or
I don't remember.
Yeah, David Boies. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. It just got dark. Anyways, so the question of that chapter was really the idea of beneficial, desirable difficulties.
Mm-hmm.
And how dyslexia might be one of those. And it talks about how 1/3 of business owners, or something close to that, are dyslexic, which that's kind of crazy if you think about it. No one really thinks about that. But again, that's definitely an underdog that I don't think I'd ever wish on a kid or something. It's more
because not everyone's a business, because business owners are such a small portion of.
Then he also said losing a parent could also be an advantage. Yeah. But then it was 1 in 10 is become successful because of that. 1 in 10, you could never wish that upon someone for that percentage of a chance.
And how much it would destroy you as a person, as a kid, and living past that. I guess I get how what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. That idea, but then again, you don't necessarily need that to happen to be successful. In fact, 9 out of 10 times, you can be successful without that.
Yeah.
So I think when it talks about how a lot of people, some people build on it, but a lot of people don't. It just affects them negatively completely.
So you wouldn't wish it upon someone, but if they did have it, then it doesn't mean they can't.
It's not impossible.
It doesn't restrict them.
Yeah.
But it's most of the time it doesn't help them.
Yeah.
And that's with dyslexia, wishing that on your kid, growing up with that. Socially, it is awful for kids growing up with dyslexia. So their childhood would basically be ruined.
I mean, I guess you learn, let's say, to listen rather than to read.
Yeah.
I mean,
but that's not worth it. Yeah.
I think it's I think they're associating, or not associating, but looking at the group of people who are successful or business owners or whatever. I think they're looking at that group and then seeing what's what makes them human. I guess and for a lot of them it may be dyslexia or losing a parent or something, but I think the common denominator in all those people is something happened in their life that made them strive to get to that point or whatever. So bad things happen in everyone's lives, but I guess I think that the successful people use those things to their advantage, I guess, and that's what the whole book's saying. That's what you said earlier, but
Yeah, exactly. That ties into it was a picture of the dogs attacking the team, and it talks about how like I think his name's Walker, Wyatt Walker. How it talks about how he used the kids, like what he had, his resources, to basically push for civil rights.
Yeah.
And how he used kids to, instead of walking to school, they were walking to church, and as images of police brutality, stuff like that. And yeah, that's basically just using what he had. His disadvantage was the police brutality, like stuff like that was happening, and he used it as an advantage to push for better things to happen.
Yeah.
And everything in this entire book relates either to the U-Graph or David and Goliath, where David was smaller, weaker, but then he had an advantage because he was faster,
skilled.
And that is basically the
far range.
That is the one side of the U-Graph, like the side where you can overcome. And it's like the U-Graph is basically just two David and Goliaths, like on each end. But one's more probable than the other.
Yeah.
But you'd rather, exactly, so like Goliath might be a rich person, David would be poor. David works himself up to be Goliath, and then Goliath would go the other way.
It would fall because he was rich.
Exactly.
Or his generation, like however you want to phrase it, but the idea is still behind it.
Oh yeah, the question, like, is it more probable that a poor person would work their way up to become rich, or is it more probable that a rich person would, like, not slack off, but just like, you know what I mean, like, would they, I guess, lead a life of bad habits and bad choices or whatever to get them back to the bottom? Like, which one would be more, like, likely to happen?
I say it varies. It's like parenting. It's like if you give your kid everything when you're rich, they're not going to feel the need to work at all.
Yeah.
They're going to slack off, like you said. But if you're poor and you try to give your kids what they need to become what they want, then it's going to work out for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, they touch on that in the book, how it makes parenting more difficult when you were raised poor and you become rich, because you can't give them what your parents gave you. I mean, whether it was on purpose or not, the parents that raised you when you were poor gave you the ability to. Yeah. So if that can't be reproduced, which they talk about how it goes from being we can't do that to we won't do that, and kids can't accept that.
Yeah.
If they know you don't have money, they know you can't get nice things as a kid. You're like, okay, I understand. We just can't do that. But when you're rich and you live in a giant mansion in Beverly Hills with a Ferrari in your garage and your own private jet, they just know you won't do that. And I think that would then take a toll on your relationship as a parent too, because they know you're just not doing it for them.
Because if your kid like didn't understand like the value of hard work, then they would just think that you're like a terrible parent, and like they just But
it'd be hard to get them to open their mind and appreciate the fact that that's what it's about. It's making them grow up to be hard workers.
We can probably wrap it up though.
Yeah.
I got a question. Whose stories stood out to you the most?
Am I picking first?
Yeah, you go.
I thought the what's her name? Caroline
Sachs.
Caroline Sachs. I thought that stood out to me a lot because I guess we're at the age where we're like starting to look at colleges and like trying to figure out what we want to do, and like we're trying to get good grades obviously and all that stuff. So like I think it really resonated with me just because like I've given that a lot of thought. It's just like, what should I do? Should I go to this college, may get a better education, it'd be a lot more of a challenge, or should I go somewhere where I can like, I don't know, have a lot more freedom and like maybe have a better chance at like succeeding there? But yeah, it just like really kind of opened my eyes to the reality of, I guess, the big pond and how, because like we're all pretty smart kids for Big One, but I guess when we go out in the real world, we'll see like Caroline did, like how smart we really are, and like
other people that are at other schools just like us, if not smarter.
Yeah.
Real talk though, like, what's the move? When you asked about like the favorite parts of the book, I completely agree. I even wrote it down. Like this is my favorite chapter. It was chapter 3, because it is like exactly what I'm thinking about right now.
Yeah.
Do I want?
Yeah.
It makes me think